Hey everybody, Bones here, Bones Garage, just bringing the update what's going on at the garage. So, 1970, Olds 98. We have a new issue with this car, and it came to light after I replaced the intake manifold gaskets. Now that the intake is completely sealed, we have no vacuum leaks between the intake and anywhere else. Now we are getting full vacuum from every time the piston goes down, creates a vacuum in the cylinder, the intake valve opens, creates a vacuum in the intake runner then creates a vacuum into the carburetor and the primary barrels, or the primary and the secondary barrels. With the full vacuum happening, we started getting a drip into the carburetor. So in other words, this booster right here and this booster right there were just dripping fuel in, which was creating a rough running motor. And it was just enough to make a nice steady drip. It would drip, 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 drip on both of the barrels. I looked at the plugs and I saw that the plugs were turning a sooty black. And I was like, okay, we definitely have a drip. I looked down the barrels of the carburetor and you can actually see the fuel coming out of the booster here. With the Rochesters and these big block motors, we have a really long stroke, which creates a high vacuum situation on these cars. And what happens is, there is so much vacuum, these openings aren't big enough. And what Rochester did to solve that problem, and I'll show you on the top of the carburetor that we have sitting over here. What Rochester did, if you look at a carburetor normally, this is an old carburetor I have laying down. It's a parts carburetor that we use because it's all corroded. Everything is all messed up on it. It's not a good carb. So if you look down the carburetor right here, you look down the barrels. I'm going to turn it over now. And when you look down, you'll see these little cutouts right here. Those are air bleed cutouts. And what those do is it relieves some of the vacuum going through these small barrels, these small venturi openings. It goes from here into the pocket right over here, and this pocket here has an opening. That opening runs down, and if we turn this over, into that opening there, and then that opening there goes to the base plate of the carburetor and relieves the pressure through that hole right there. So in other words, the vacuum is actually bypassing the venturi, creating a lower pressure area. So this way, the fuel that's sitting in the fuel bowl here isn't being acted on by the extra high pressure of it being such a big block motor, a long stroke, big cylinders. These motors create a lot of vacuum, and all that a carburetor works on is vacuum and pressure. So your atmospheric pressure, your 14.7 pounds of pressure that's around you every day, all day long, is pushing on the fuel. The low pressure area on this side will now draw the fuel out of fuel bowl. And that is what happens. It's creating so much vacuum that it's drawing too much, and it's drawing the fuel out when it's not needed. So what we found in here that this is a reman carburetor that I set up for him a while back. Being that we had all the intake leaks, we weren't getting the great amount of vacuum. So with those holes, one there and one right there, plugged up, it wasn't creating any problems. We didn't have any drip. But as soon as I put these new gaskets in here and sealed this intake completely, this became a problem. These plugs right there became a problem. So now what we have to do is we have to pull the carburetor off, pull it all apart, drill those plugs out, open up those holes, and it should stop this problem with the drip into the carburetor. So there you go, guys. That's what's going on. This was causing the motor to, if you come to a stop, it would stall sometimes. It was idling real rough. When you were driving down the road, you can feel the motor was rough. It just wasn't the smooth that it's supposed to be. So yeah, there you go, guys. That's what's going on with this big girl. We're solving the problem, hopefully, and I'll keep you up to date as we go. Have fun. Okay, bye.